This is the Peak Nation podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Pam's Sewing and Resale Shop, located at 3014 Cummings Highway in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pam's offers top-notch alterations and custom sewing services, including curtains, cushions, and bridal veils. Their resale shop supports local businesses by providing showers, food, shoes, and clothing to those in need. Visit them Wednesday through Friday at 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. or call 423-414-8035. That's 423-414-8035 to book an appointment on other days. Support quality craftsmanship and a great cause with Pam's Sewing and Resale Shop. We're also sponsored by Aries Fight Series 28, taking place at the world famous Cotton Eye Joe in Knoxville, Tennessee on July 26th. Don't miss epic matchups like Alex Riggs versus Arthur Cisse, Lee Radford versus Adam Sylvie, and the Amateur Bantamweight Championship bout between Samantha Buttery and Kate Sandmeyer. Tickets are available at www.fightertix.com. Get your tickets today. Trevor, what's going on, brother?
I've just been trying to use today to recover a little bit, man. I've been hard at it since I've been out here in Colorado. We actually got a fight book. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But I feel like I've been in a training camp since I got here, man. I mean, just nonstop training. It's intense. I'll never say it enough. It's just the output and the work out here is it's next level. And a lot of days I feel like I'm like, man, need some recovery, but you just got to push through it. But things have been going good with Dwayne and his family, and all these other places I've been going. So super blessed to be here, man. It was a journey getting here, but I'm glad that I made the trip.
Have you gotten used to the altitude?
Yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, I feel like I have. I still don't know if you ever get just completely adapted to it. I mean, our bodies require oxygen, and it's obviously it's a lot thinner up here. But yeah, for the most part, it seems like getting adjusted wasn't as bad. I was back home for I think 3 or 4 weeks, and then it's like coming back out here. It wasn't anywhere near as hard on me as that first time. And I have some days where I still feel like, man, I can't breathe at all. But for the most part, my body's doing well. And I think up here with the higher blood cell count and stuff due to the lower oxygen levels, I think my body actually does a little bit better up here as far as like inflammation, injuries, stuff of that nature. So it's going good, man.
Yeah, you mentioned Dwayne Ludwig. That's an awesome fighting system he's got, Bang Muay Thai. How do you feel you've developed in that system, and are you still starting to feel comfortable in it? And with the moves and with the overall, I know that he has certain plans for you. There's a lot of there's actually one in Huntsville, South Huntsville, Bang Muay Thai affiliate. There's several across the country. That's a program that seems to work. Have you felt comfortable inside that program?
Yeah, I mean, I really and truly, it wasn't nothing crazy for me to pick up. I mean, I had, if I'd come to Dwayne raw without any training at all, it'd probably been pretty hard on me. But, Jeff, like I've said many a times, Dwayne was his favorite fighter growing up, and a lot of his moves and stuff kind of have went right along with it. So as far as picking up the system, man, it's been really fairly easy to me, I would say. I mean, there's certain things that's been a little difficult. I guess more of just how I approach, sparring sessions, fights. Just Dwayne's been, trying to get me to dance more, touch more, control more, and just try to hone into what separates the best, the best fighters in the world, being able to touch and create, and that's something that I'm trying my best to learn, and I struggle with it some days. I feel like most all my life it's just get them. Like I've got to get in there and get them, and now I'm at a different level where these guys, they know how to slip punches, they know how to get out of the way, they know how to make it, drag the fight out some. So I feel like if I just start dancing more, touching and creating, then these finishes will start coming even easier. Like the sparring sessions have been a little bit tougher on me than what I'm accustomed to. I've always sparred, really hard and aggressively, and Dwayne's trying to, like I said, get me to dance more. And if somebody gets me, then I don't necessarily have to just get them back with one shot. I've got to get them back with several shots. And I mean, I'm sitting here with this right now, and it's like I'll eat a big shot, and I'm like, oh, I'm about to get you. And then Dwayne's like, he's on me about control, control, control. So it's different, but starting to pick up on things, and he seems to be, I guess, pretty impressed with me with how far I've come along and my dedication and just my discipline to the craft. So it's going good, man. They're such wonderful people, and they help me not miss home so bad.
Yeah, you watch all these guys that they do the little TikToks or whatever with your fights, and they talk about how exciting you are when you step in the UFC into the octagon. You made a statement clearly on the Contender Series. You made a statement. You made a statement with your debut. Has it been frustrating? You kind of mentioned guys kind of pulling back from the fight, not engaging with you in that same type of excitement that you give the fans. Uh, has that been frustrating? Is that kind of what you're alluding to? Kind of getting to where you can cut them off and stop them from moving away from you to make the fights more exciting.
Yeah, that's part of it. I guess as far as opponents go, the part that's been frustrating me, I guess, all these strikers are turning into grapplers when they start getting hit. Like, so I mean, but that's my fault. I gotta be ready to sprawl. Get ready to mix it up. I feel like whenever, and Matt Harris has brought this up a lot of times. Whenever I'm implementing the wrestling and I'm mixing it up very well, like I don't get taken down nowhere near as much and stuff. So I guess just adding a little bit more wrestling and grappling offensively, will probably help detour some of that wrestling and stuff. But also, I just got to get it built in my mind that when I touch somebody, they're going to want to take it to the ground, and that's something that we're going to work on these next several weeks. I've got like about, I think I'm either 7 or 8 weeks out for my next fight, and like we're going to really dial it in. Just know that once I touch them, man, I need to be ready to sprawl because they're going to shoot.
Yeah. Well, the messages I get on my phone, it's not it's always during your fights is why is this guy, especially this last one was why isn't this guy engaging with Trevor? Like why? I was like, well, he don't want to go to sleep. That's why. But I know Trevor's just as frustrated as you are. Is it's not this guy, and it was a game plan you could tell Charlie came in with. He did not want to get cracked by that Trevor Peak. Uh, right hand. He didn't want to get hit with a Judy chop from Alabama, that's for sure. And I'm sure it was frustrating, but did you feel like you grew through that? You're growing through that, that you're going to be more dangerous in the upcoming fights?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm always going to, be a little bit more dangerous than I was in my previous fights. And it's a learning on the job, man. There's been a lot of my career I didn't really per se have I had the quality of training that I needed. I just didn't have as much time of it as I needed. So still playing catch up. And, honestly, people like me and Miles Peak, before I got the UFC contract, we had talked a good bit about it. And I was just like, man, I don't know that I'm really, as far as like where a skill level, I don't know that I'm really where I need to be as going on into the UFC. But I mean, they called with the Contender Series, offer, and I wasn't going to turn it down. And it was one of the things I just knew that once I got the contract, I was just going to have to try to work extra hard and play catch up on a little bit of training, and that's. I mean, I've done that back home, but I'm definitely doing that now, man. That's all I do is train.
Yeah, and I think the belief in you around people surrounding you, I was reflecting on that today. Me and you had talked about doing a podcast this week. You were the spark. I don't know if you know this or not, but you were the spark that ignited a really an MMA renaissance in the South. where guys who felt that way, like maybe I'm not good enough to be on the big stage, or maybe I'm not at that level, but now you see you go into the Contender Series, go into the UFC, you see your training partner, Torres Finney's now he competed in the Contender Series, about to compete again. Robbie Ring got his shot. There's two guys coming, from down south. They're going to fight on the PFL coming up soon. It's just amazing to me what you did. You were the really the flag bearer for this southeastern region. And yeah, don't ever say that, Trevor. You definitely are the guy. You had the skills, you had the heart, and you're so important to this southeastern region to get its mark, to make its mark on the MMA world. I mean, you're the first, dude. You are the guy that really kind of, yeah, there have been others, but not like this, right? Not guys that were groomed for this. This is, you came up, you trained in a garage, you know, you've got that heart, and then you got your shot and you made the most of it. And now guys that are training are looking around each other like, hey man, maybe I can make it to the UFC. Maybe if I put hard work in it like Trevor Peak, maybe I can. And you see guys that have been able to make some steps towards that. How's that make you feel, man?
I mean, it's empowering. It's cool. Makes me feel, like, I guess just thankful, man. I mean, I wanted to carry the torch. I mean, I knew that I had a lot of God given abilities and a lot of talent, and I knew that I would be disciplined enough and train hard enough to get myself wherever I wanted to go, Lord willing. And I felt in my heart, I felt like I was going to be the first in that area to do something with it. And yeah, I mean, I give you guys, I said it before, I give you guys the blueprint, follow it. I mean, I definitely tested myself. I wanted to be the best guy in the region. I fought the toughest guys around. I mean, it's just wanted to prove to myself, wanted to prove everybody wrong. Like, it's just if you get God on your side, man, and it's His will for you, and you work tirelessly, you can definitely make it wherever you want to make it. Like I said, as long as it's in God's will for your life. But it's been incredibly crazy, man. It's still crazy. The people that come up to me and, "Are you Trevor Peak?" And it's still just, it's crazy, man. I get emotional every time I talk about this kind of stuff, and just I never really deserved it. Just the life that I've lived. I don't feel like many of us deserve anything really. That we're all, at the end of the day, we all struggle. But God truly has blessed me, man. And it's the relationships above anything, man. People like you, Dwayne, Matt, Jeff, Sterling, like I mean, I could see we could film 2 hours, man. We sitting here just naming off the core relationships that I have.
Yeah. I mean, that goes into, I sent you a verse that's been on my mind. It says, Proverbs 17:17, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Uh, that verse, man, has spoke to me my entire life. And the only, you do have born brothers, but you also have brothers out there that you finally get to know through life, through adversity, through struggles. This MMA journey has revealed a lot of brothers to you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, man. I've got, it's blessed me with a lot of friendships, a lot of close relationships, but it's given me, some people that's, as close as blood to me. As you sent me that verse right before we started this, and it made me think of, a few people that's I'm so glad that they was there with me. Like Chris Barnes. You say this, brother. Thank you. It was a lot of stuff, a lot of adversities, and a lot of craziness that I went through in life, and that boy helped me get through a lot of it. And it's just craziness, man. But and people like Miles, Halson Higdon, Torres. Logan Neal. I've got so many people that's been huge blessings to me, man. They've helped. I certainly didn't get here by myself. That's it's just this road to the UFC is paved with people supporting me, people who loving me and people caring about me. You know, I definitely didn't get here by my own doings.
That it's one of my favorite quotes from Conor McGregor. He has several. Um, he was asked one time. He said, a fan was asking him, said, "If you could eat with anybody in history from the past, or just anybody, who would it be?" And he said, "I want to eat with my family." And the guy looked. He said, "I don't eat with anyone at a table that I wouldn't starve with. There's nobody more important to me than the people that I starved with, the people that was with me at the bottom, and now that I'm here." So there's nobody special I want to eat with. He said, "Don't eat with anyone you wouldn't starve with." That's the special moment. Is Yeah, and Connor saying that, I was just like, wow. Connor, a lot of times he says a lot of crazy things, but for him to say that, I was like, that's a proverb right there. That's that's a good quote right there, brother.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, me personally, I think if I could have a meal with anybody, I'd probably sit at the dinner table with Jesus,
Yeah.
breaking bread and all that stuff, man. That'd have been the table to sit at. But I certainly agree. Most definitely want to. That's a. I love that quote by Connor, man. That's it.
Yeah. Now, going on a little bit to talk about some current events, brother. What do you think about Trump and this attempted assassination? Is that not crazy?
Man, that's the only way. It was. I feel like, dude, that Secret Service knew about the shooter. I've heard 20 minutes prior to the shooting. I mean, you can even see the guys that's on the Secret Service guys, snipers that's on the roof. They're clearly got an eye on some visual on the shooter, and then they wait till he pops off how many shots, and then it's like, okay, now we'll shoot him. And that don't happen if Joe Biden's up there giving that speech. You know
No.
what I mean? Like that doesn't happen. People can these Secret Service. It's craziness to me, man. I don't know. And I heard another thing too the other day. You know, they said that I tried looking on Google a couple times. You know, right before we got on. I wished I'd have did a little sooner, but I heard that it was like 6:11 p.m. or something like that. Whenever the shot first rang out, and like Ephesians 6:11's like the put on the full armor of God. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Like I just feel like there's so many people in our country right now that seen that event take place, and they're like, yeah, God had to have his hand in that. Like, and then you see, Donald Trump get up and fist bump with blood on his face and stuff, man. And that's dude, it's one of the coolest moments I've ever seen in my life. I mean, that picture will go down in the daggum history books for centuries, man. I mean, it's just what more of a American, like, what, you know what I mean? Like how much more of an American moment is that? Like, that's who I want as my president. You know what I mean? Shots fired and you're getting up fist pumping, won't let the guys take off of you, wanting to show the American people like, I'll fight for you.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. Joe Biden wouldn't have done that. Not many. There's so many people in this world that claim to be, America, like men and stuff like that. But when the going gets tough and shots are fired and stuff like that, man, they're hunkered behind a podium or called hiding. Like, and Donald Trump's like, wait, 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 no. And it spoke America to me, man. Freedom. It spoke a lot of things. Courage. Just I think he's the man for the job, man. And like I said, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I can't even vote. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't even vote. You got go give speeches to elementary kids and middle school kids, but God forbid I carry a gun and vote. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's another topic for another day, man. I prayers for Donald Trump and his family, and prayers for our country that we get who we're supposed to have, man. I hope and pray that we get who we're supposed to have, and that they're very successful, and that we get out of this dang hole that we're in. I seen a guy post a thing the other day. You can order them. I think it was a Walmart app. He had a grocery list, and he ordered the same exact thing, and it was like I think like $200 or $300 higher than several years ago, and I was just like, I don't know, man. It just blows my mind, the prices of inflation, food. It's just everything's absolutely nuts. I mean, even out here in Colorado, it's a little bit of a difference from even being back home, man. Everything's cost of living's a little bit higher out here. It's definitely been different getting adjusted to out here. But yeah, man, I just hope we get who we're supposed to have, man. And I believe Donald Trump's the guy for the job. Before people get on my case about staying out of politics, you can do what you want to do, and I'm gonna do what I want to do. This is my podcast, not yours.
Well, that's the crazy thing is I have a lot of people with different views and all that on my social media feed, and some of them are like way out there where they're kind of joking about it. And that bothers me in a way, and I don't want to live in an echo chamber, right? So I don't block them, and I really don't even I don't say anything. I more kind of look at that person completely different than of course than I ever would. It's not something to joke about. It's very if it happened to Joe Biden, I'd be distraught. It would be something, for anyone to attempt to assassinate a political figure. That's anti-democracy. That's all these horrible things. But the left, wow, a lot of these guys are not taking it serious, and that's what kind of shocked me more than anything.
Yeah, me too, man. It's just I've seen a lot of jokes about him, like about them missing and just a lot of craziness. Really, it's at the end of the day, man, we're human first. We all, but people like Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden, they have children, grandchildren, wife, family, friends. At the end of the day, we're all human, and I felt like that was just sad. We all out here, and we're all trying to survive. And I was gonna say all trying to be good people, but that's certainly not the case. But we're all out here trying to survive, and we're people first, man.
Yeah,
We're people first. And that kid, like that attempted that, man. It's just the whole story is just bogus to me. It's just
yeah,
crazy. We could get into a whole bunch of conspiracies, but we'll leave it at that, I guess, man. It's just prayers for, like I said, prayers for Mr. Trump and his family, and prayers for the greatest country in the world, man. I hope we get back on top, and I hope we get respected again. That was one big difference that I've seen over the course of these last 4 years, and then seeing President Trump run the country. It seemed like we were respected more by other countries and other leaders, and just it seemed like people respected America more. And now it just seems like we're kind of the laughing stock of the world right now, in my opinion.
yeah. Well, no one was laughing when he stood up with blood on his face and pumped that fist in the air. That sent shudders down the enemy's spine.
I know, man. I thought about getting a tattoo of it. I ain't gonna do that, but it is a cool picture, man. I'll certainly have to get a poster. I seen Toho has some rash guards of it, so I'm gonna have to maybe get a rash guard.
Yeah. Well, they had me at Hulk Hogan and Dana White. When I seen the Hulkster get up there, I thought he did a great job. He was playing into the gimmick. I was hoping eventually he would come out as Terry Bollea, which he did, and did a really good job.
Yeah.
And Dana did your boss, the boss, did an amazing job, man. What do you think about that?
Man, I mean, him and Dana's been friends for forever, man. And I felt like everything Dana White said about him was, pretty spot on. He's Donald Trump's a UFC fan for sure, man. He's been to a bunch of the fights, and it's cool to me to see friends support each other like that and stuff at the craziest levels of life.
Yeah. That's what they do better than anybody is network and keep friendships alive. Rogan, Trump, Kid Rock, all these guys, they work together very, very well. And they help elevate one another, which is amazing to see. Most of the time you see people jealous of one another, trying to, fame, hog the fame. But these guys are kind of showing everybody how to do it. You know,
Yeah, they feed off each other, man. That's one thing that I've been, fortunate enough to pick up on in life is the importance of networking. Trying to build relationships, and then, always the relationships that'll help build each other, man. Because it's like you just said. I mean, look at Rogan and his success, and Dana and his success, like, and they all just grow together, man. There ain't nobody kind of staying here and then going up and then going up. It's just they're all going up together, and I think that's cool. It's picky friends wisely, I guess.
yeah,
You are,
iron
you are.
sharpens iron,
That's
right?
right. You are who you surround yourself with, I reckon.
Yeah, and you've got a good crew. One of your closest allies and friends, Torres Finney, man, a
Oh
guy
yeah.
that
El Torres, he's a good one, dude. He's out here with me in Colorado right now. He's been all over the place. He's been down in Florida training, Las Vegas training. We went there for a few days a week or two ago and did some rounds at Extreme Couture. And yeah, he's got a big fight on the Contender Series coming up August 20th. He's going to absolutely kill the guy. I mean, it's I don't see how that guy wins, Kyle, at all. I don't see any path to victory for that cat. I mean, Torres is just a absolute tank. His striking's gotten better. I mean, we've seen the clinic that he put on that last guy. He had to, I think he had to have immediate surgery. Like, it broke two spots in his face. He was bedridden, drinking through a straw, like jaw wired shut. Like, he's too dangerous for the regional scene. I mean, he literally is too dangerous for the regional scene. I mean, we're gonna get in there, let him secure another victory, and then hopefully they'll put me and that boy on the card in Atlanta or Nashville. Man, I know it'd go crazy. I know it'd be awesome, but we're just gonna get through this one and then see what they have to offer. Now we went there. Me and him actually went to Vegas, shoot his promo videos and everything, and uh, I had a couple crazy experiences while I was out there, man. I just thought about it when we started talking about it, but had a 70-something-year-old, I think she was 72-year-old lady. My driver picked me up from the airport. She was asking me. She said, "Can I ask you a personal question?" And I was like, however, I said, she was like, "Yes, I can ask you," or "No," and I was like, "No, I don't care." And she was like, I thought she was going to say, like, how do you, because I told her about getting a relationship with Jesus, fighting and everything. I thought she was going to say the typical, like, how do you have a relationship with Jesus and fight? Because I hear that one more than I hear any of them. But then she asked me, she was like, how do you have a relationship with Jesus? And I was like, oh man, this older lady's asking me this stuff, man. And I got to share with her a lot of my personal life and everything. And she was like, I got cracked up there. She said, sometimes I'm just not in the mood. And I was like, yeah, me too. Like, me too, ma'am. I said, sometimes, I'm not in the mood either. And I said, and I'm just only speaking from personal experience. I was like, but the times that I'm not in the mood is the times that I've backtracked. I'm sinning and I'm sinning here, I'm sinning there, and I've got just a cloth of guilt and shame over my body, and I draw away from the Lord. And I said, and she was like, well, I don't know if that's for me personally, but certainly something to think about. We got through the conversation and got out of the vehicle and everything. And I got to pray over, and it was a real cool experience for me, man. It was neat. And then like 2 nights later, or the next night, I think we went out walking on Fremont Street. I'm sure you've been on Fremont Street, man. There ain't much Jesus in that area, and people's kind of doing their own thing, and definitely not probably living like they should. And I ain't here to pass judgment or anything like that. We was just bored walking around, and there's a couple live bands down there and stuff. Wanted to check them out, but we'd pretty well got through walking, man, and I was already in my head, like, just because, like, and I'm gonna say this, and maybe I won't catch no rap for it or catch too much stuff for it, but like, it was just a lot of, like, man, I don't know, anyway, flaming gaze down there, man. And that's, like I said, I ain't here to pass judgment or anything like that, but like, it was they was just all wearing like crosses and stuff, big dangling crosses on their necks, and then a lot of the people that was a lot of the females that was dressed up pretty skeezy was wearing crosses and stuff, and it was just like, and I'd got in my head not necessarily about them people, but just about what the cross represents now, like people like Lil Nas X and folks like that have made the cross kind of a fashion, and a fashion accessory, and it don't really mean the same as like it used to. Used to, you see a cross, man, it meant something holy and it was empowering and all kinds of things. And then I just seen people wearing the cross that I just really felt like they didn't even know what it meant, so I was already in my head, man. And then we walked by this guy, and he was dressed like Jesus. I mean, literally, he had the robe on, he had the sandals on, he had the long hair, he had the beard. He wouldn't look like he was trying to be Jesus. And we're walking by him, man, and he's got like these. He's handing out cards to a strip club, and I'm like, dude, it just I got mad about it, and I'm like, don't say anything, man. Like you know what I mean, like just let it go. And then a red light called us, and we couldn't walk across the street. And then here he came, man, over to us, and I was just like, don't talk to me, brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just, and I heard him. He was like, Jesus wants to save you. And he's saying all these things about Jesus, and he's handing out clubs. There's these cards, and he comes up to me and Torres, and he's like, hey, man, y'all want to go to the strip club, blah, blah, blah. Gives us this rundown. And I just looked at him, Kyle, and I was like, what's wrong with you, dude? And he was like, what? And I was like, no, what's wrong with you, man? And I was getting fired up, dude. Like, I was like, what are you about to say where this goes, dude? And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, looked him up and down. I was like, look at you, man. Look at you. Look at you out here making a mockery of Jesus, man. He was like, man, we're on Fremont Street, brother. This is Vegas. I said, I know we're on Fremont Street, dude. I know where we're at. I said, and he said, well, what about all these other people? And I was like, man, yeah, I get it. Everybody out here sinning. But I said, one thing they're not doing though, brother. I said, they're not out here they're not out here trying to make a mockery. I was like, you're actually making a mockery over him. He was like, well, it's free. I was like, I don't care, dude. I was like, man, I said, Jesus loves you, dude. And he was like, yeah, Jesus loves you too, man. I said, I know he does. I ain't out here making a mockery of him. I was like, and he said, can you give me a Bible verse in it? Dude, I was like fired off like the Romans 8:37 at him. I was like, nay, and all these things for we are more than conquerors through him who loved us and all this stuff. And I was like, man, I've been to jail 16 times and all this stuff. I was like, dude, do you know why we're out here? Do you know why we're in Vegas? And he was like, well, I said, we're out here to be filmed, to be put on TV, man. We and him, we're out here being filmed to be put on TV. I was like, that's what Jesus can do for you. And I was pretty fired up, man. And he said, I said, well, I'll pray for you. And he said, well, I'll pray for you too. And I said, well, can I pray for you now? He was like, yeah. So I prayed over him too. And we got back from the trip, man. And I was talking to, I was actually telling one of my roommates about that story. And I was like, I said, I was so mad, man. I said, I was so mad. I said, I wanted to drag him through them streets and rip the clothes off of him and all this stuff. And I said, but that was the same. I said, that's my nature. And I said, that's the same nature that did Jesus like that, so it was kind of just it was a cool moment for me because I was picturing myself, kind of just dragging him through them streets and stuff. And then I got thinking about, him looking like Jesus. And I'm like, that'd have been a headliner. Trevor Peak whoops and Jesus looking like, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, God is good. Wham! Like, yeah, I don't know, but it's craziness to me, man. I just wish people respected the cross more, and it's a sad, broken world we live in. And the guy's name was Jeremiah. It had a biblical name too. I was like, brother, oh man, I'm gonna have to go to church. But yeah. It's been cool, man. I mean, it's life's been wild, dude, out here in Colorado, man. I've been running all over these mountains, dude. It's oof. God, if you don't believe in God, man, you gotta get out here and you gotta get somewhere like one of these 14ers, dude. My buddy John Koeman took me and a friend of mine from Germany, one of Dwayne's affiliates out, man, and Kylie told us it was pretty well gonna be just walking, maybe a little bit of scrambling, nothing too bad, dude. Like for like 4 hours of the trip, man, it was every move was precious, Kyle. I mean, every single move you made was precious. You had to be so cognitively there too, man. So focused, like especially like we got up on the knife edge, man. And I mean, it's thousands of feet down on each side, and you know you're dead. Like there's no surviving that, man. Like you know you're dead if you fall, and like the wind would stop blowing for a second, and if you let your guard down, man, it would just out of nowhere like 40 50 mile per hour wind just hit you, and it's like and it about would blow me off the top of that thing, and I was just like, dude, I'm gonna get blew off of this. And it was an experience, man. Like it was, if you don't believe in God, get out somewhere like that, and you'll I just don't know how you see things like that and not believe in God, man. That's my favorite part about being on them 14ers out here, them 14,000 foot mountains, just getting out on them crazy spots and looking around. And you're just like, God, like he's got to be real. And then if you're out there and you don't believe in him, you go most likely you go on dangerous ones. You go be praying to somebody. Like it's pretty intense, man. It was mentally exhausting on me just because the guy that we took with us, Lucas from Germany, man, he had no experiences doing anything like that. The first spot we got to that was dangerous, he was like, kind of little bit, I don't know where to go. And I was like, oh no, dude, like no. And we got through it, man. I felt like we all kind of went through a bonding experience. It was neat, but yeah, man, my cardio ought to be next level on this next fight, man. I'm hoping like crazy it is, and it's gonna be good. Speaking of next fights, they got me in the dang apex again, but it's all right, man. I was so grateful to get re-signed. You know, that last one was a little bit of extra pressure just because, like, I mean, it was my last fight, you know, and you never know, man. I've seen fighters get cut with good records and felt like they give pretty good performances, was pretty entertaining. I've seen them get just cut. So, like, you know, you never really know. And, you know, I went through that fight, that last one, and, you know, Mr. Sean Shelby, like, for, you know, really the first time. I mean, we've had a couple of, like, hey, Sean, how you doing? You know, real short conversations. But after that fight, you know, they had me back there, laid out on the floor, checking out my legs and everything. And Mr. Shelby actually come and he sat beside me on the floor and he's like, hey, son, I know, or hey, Trevor, like, I know you're upset and you're probably dealing with a lot right now. He said emotionally, but I just wanted to come and thank you for fighting for us like you always do. And I was like, oh man, I was like, all I said was, are you guys going to re-sign me, sir? And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, that was my last fight on my contract. And he was just like, man, don't worry about that. Call me Monday and we'll get you figured out. So we got signed again. And then a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that, they offered me, what was his name? Yanal Ashmuz, I believe is how you say his name. I know you say his last name Ashmuz, and I think his first name's Yanal, but he's only had a couple fights in the UFC. He's heavy-handed. It's going to be we'll see. I'm sure he'll turn into a grappler too. They seems like they all are, but you know, we'll just have to cross that road when we get there. But yeah, September 7th at the Apex in Las Vegas, I'll be fighting Yanal Ashmoose, and you're gonna get a finish, man. I'm dying to get. I got to get a finish. I mean, I went from 8-0 with all knockouts to 9-2 with a couple of decision losses and a decision win, and I hadn't had a finish in over a year, and that's not. And that ain't me, and I ain't living like that. So we're gonna keep building, keep working, and try to get in there and get the job done via knockout or submission. You know, one way or the other. But I'm definitely finished, man. But I'm gonna try my best to not get too overzealous. I smelled blood whenever I was in there with Charlie, and I seen him breaking, man. I mean, I really did, Kyle. I seen Charlie folding like a lawn chair, man, and then he just was able to get a few decent shots in, take me down, wear me out a little bit. But I'm just gonna have to focus on like when I got them there, just be ready. Just be ready for them to shoot and be ready to either counter or be ready to sprawl. And I think that'll fix a good bit of my problems. People ain't really the fights I've lost, man. Like the Chepe fight, like I felt like Chepe was a better martial artist than I was during that time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd had the hardest training camp I've ever had in my life. I mean, still that's the worst one I've ever had. And this last camp, like I didn't feel like Charlie was the better fighter. I mean, really, I mean, maybe he was more skilled, or maybe he looked a little bit more polished than I, but I don't think he was really a better fighter, man. I think I just he just had a better game plan, I guess. And I don't even think that was really his game plan. I think he adjusted on the fly. I think he was desperate, and he found his way to stay in there, and ultimately it ended up winning him the fight, man. But just I don't know, that last one, dude. It was the best camp I'd ever had in my life for the most part. I started breaking a little bit there at the end, though, Kyle. If I'm being completely honest, about the last 2.5 weeks, man, I was just broken. I mean, mentally, it's one of them things you just take it on the chin and you just roll with it. You can't tell everybody, hey, man, I'm going through it right this second. But like, I don't know, one of my best friends back home, we took in two little girls 5 years ago from a drug house, and they really didn't have nobody that would take them, or didn't have nobody that really wanted them during that time. And one was 3, and one was just had got weaned off her mama, so she was still a baby. And we took them in almost 5 years ago, and like I said, man, if I hadn't really ever known too much about but feeling like a father would feel like, but having them two little babies with us that nobody really took care of and nobody really wanted during that time. I kind of learned what it would mean to be a father. I bathed them, I cleaned, I took care of them, I fed them like they was my best friends. For these last 4 or 5 years, and they got stripped away from us, man. And I ain't got to talk to them since. I ain't got to tell them bye. I never. Matter of fact, the last conversation I had with that oldest little girl, she wanted to be adopted and stuff, and then like 2 days later, the freaking cops was at the school picking them up and making them go live with a grandmother over lies. And I don't know, man. It's still been tough on me dealing with that mess, and I had some relationship problems going on back home. I just mentally was broken, but no excuses, man. I should have got in there and got the job done. But Kaylee and Natalie, um, if you two ever say this, I love you so much. And I'm sorry, but yeah, oof, I mean to get into all that, but yeah, it's just gonna try this next fight, man. To whatever I got to do, just keep my mind right.
Yeah, so much of the fighting game's mental, isn't it? Even
Yeah, yeah,
things going outside you bring into the cage, right?
people don't realize what you have going on and what you got to get in there with. Like even in that third round when Charlie was beating me and everything had me on the ground, I was like, man, I kept thinking about them little girls. I was like, because there was still some lawyer fees and stuff that had to be come up with because we're still trying to fight to at least get some visitations or something. And I was just like, man, I gotta win. I gotta get that win money, for them girls. And I was thinking about that, in that third round, and it's crazy, what the thoughts you can have in that cage, and I mentally wasn't there as much as I like to have been. But like I said, no excuses whatsoever. I ain't for anybody in the world thinks I'm coming up with excuses. I'm not. I don't know, just tell another fight win, I guess.
Yeah. Do you think if someone tries to fight your fight, you know, that they're gonna be found, I mean, they're gonna be found out really quick. Is that the frustrating part about you fighting, is when the guys try to kind of tame you, try to not, exchange with you? Uh like you said, they turn into wrestlers real quick. Is that where frustration builds in the cage?
Yeah, I guess Yeah, that's it. Like I was saying earlier, man, it is frustrating, but it's just, I guess, just frustrating with myself. Ultimately, we're in a mixed martial arts fight. Like, if I want to do just a stand up fight, I need to venture off into another organization that does something else. But it's just, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just frustrating with myself. Ultimately, thinking a fighter's going to fight a certain way, but I'm just going to be prepared for all of it now. I mean, I should have been before, and I guess in my mind, I thought Charlie might, get a shot out of desperation, but I don't know. It's just, I'll be prepared for this next one though, man. Ashmus, he's not I wouldn't say he's like, he doesn't have as many weapons as Charlie. He hits harder than Charlie. I believe he probably hits harder. That was the difference. And like Charlie and a lot of my last opponents was Charlie had a high output and it was a lot of significant strikes. But like as far as just the damage, he didn't seem like, to me anyways, didn't seem like he had as much power as people I fought in the past. But Ash Moose he's got a pretty decent pop, man, and he looks pretty strong. Like he's not like no, I mean, world class grappler or anything, but he looks hard to hold down, and he does implement some wrestling if he needs to. So I'm expecting kind of the same fight, honestly, man. I think I'll start touching him, and then I think he'll want to wrestle too. But I've been fortunate enough to still go over at Onyx and train with Ben Charrington's running some crazy, crazy good wrestling practices. Thank you, Ben. Man, dude. Thank you for letting me come and join. Justin Gaethje, Archie Colgan, Logan Paxton, John Koonman. I mean, the best wrestler in the world, considered by many. It was there this last Thursday. Zorbek Sadikov, I think is how you say his name, man. He's beat like Jordan Burroughs, Kyle Dake. I mean, he's beating the literal best in the world. So getting to go and get with them guys and get some rounds in and stuff. So it's I'm improving, man. I need to still put some of my schedule together. We got a little bit of a curveball whenever I come up here. I had a gym that I was really banking on doing most of my rounds at. They was worried about my aggression and worried about my control. So they they told me to go work on that, and then maybe we could revisit the topic of me coming there in the future. But I mean, I ain't
Yeah.
going there. You know what I mean? I don't feel like you do people like that. I mean, if you got somebody that's struggling in the area, man, you take them in and you help them out. I mean, I did get after a boy over there one time. I mean, one day whenever I was over there, but I felt like that was the only incident I really had at that particular gym. But I mean, I had a broke nose and he hit me with a flying knee. So I mean, when you hit me with a flying knee, we're sparring, probably coming after you. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
uh, but
Welcome
yeah,
to Alabama.
well, I say mountain bike guy. But yeah, we're still putting together a little bit of stuff as far as my camp goes. Where to go get rounds at, who's gonna be welcoming and who's not. I definitely there's a couple people up here I feel like don't really vibe with me too well, but I mean I just gonna have to get over it. I'm just here to get better, man. I ain't here to be better. I'm just here to get better.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you revisit the fighting the guy dressed like Jesus story. Me and you are probably the only two people I know that have a similar story like that. Uh, I went to a concert. It was Gwar. I had to go see Gwar. I like heavy metal, and I was like, well, who am I going to invite to go watch this? And I was like, our friend Bear Hill. Uh,
Yeah, bro.
Heavyweight MMA fighter Bear Hill. So I invited Bear. He lives close to me, and so I pick up Bear. He's wearing his kilt with his big long beard, and we show up early. We're going to see Gwar, and there was a band that we didn't know was opening up for Gwar. We'd never heard of this band, but they were called Cancer Christ, and this guy was up there singing this metal music, and he's dressed like Jesus. Well, we had no idea what was about to go on. And as soon as the guy comes on stage, he's dressed like Jesus, and they got all these like monsters and all this craziness. Bear goes, Kyle, you're gonna have to hold me back. I'm about to go up on stage and beat this dude down. I was like, man, let's get out of here, Bear. Let's get out of here. So me and Bear, I have to rush, I have to get out of there. Bear was about to lose it. I was like, man, this will be the craziest night ever. Not even get to see Guar. Bear's gonna beat up the opening act right off the jump. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been that'd have been awesome. Like, yeah, I mean, it would have. Yeah, it'd been cool, man. I certainly seen like had visions of TMZ posting me dragging a guy looking like Jesus through the street, and it's been. Oh, man,
Yeah.
I've never been able to preach the gospel on the stage again. Then it's been like the same guy you preaching about, the same guy you beat it look like up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they'd have spun that. They'd have spun that everywhere they could have.
Oh man, it's I know it'd been absolutely ridiculous, dude. It's but just gotta tame that thing inside of you that wants to get people. Sometimes I
Yeah.
feel like every other day I want to headbutt somebody, but I don't.
Well, hey, I saw that a young prospect, Bribben Sullivan, was up there with you, training. He's got a bout coming up with Karate Combat. How'd Bribben look up there in Denver?
Ribbon, he come up here and he adjusted everything pretty well, man. I mean, back home, Ribbon's one of the most. He might be the most talented striker in Agogi. I mean, he's been training since he was a young kid. I mean, he's been pretty consistent with it since then. And his, I feel like his style goes pretty well with Dwayne. He picks up things really well. He trained hard while he was out here, man. We actually got to take him to Vegas with us and got to show him around the Performance Institution and stuff like that. And he's got a tough fight. He's got I gained a lot more respect for him whenever I seen this opponent that he's fighting fighting in Karate Combat. His name's I think Elijah Everreal or Ever something like that.
I drew a blank too, man.
Yeah, I think it's Elijah Everreal. But yeah, they'll be fighting in Nashville, Tennessee, this coming up Thursday, actually, in the Karate Combat Series. I think Smiling Sam Alvey, I think, is the co-main that night. I'm gonna go down probably Wednesday down to Nashville and him for a little bit, and then Thursday, I reckon I'm supposed to be cornering him. So I'm excited about seeing his performance, seeing how well he does, and getting to see him get in there with a person that's much better than anybody's fought so far. Bribben's undefeated, and this won't count on his pro record in MMA, but it certainly will be a good way for him to get his toes wet without having to worry about the consequences of maybe things don't go away, a loss on his pro record, and this will be. And they pay pretty decent too, man. He's making a decent amount for his first big step, first high level fight, and I'm excited to see that pit, man. Dude, I would have loved to fight in that thing. I would absolutely just murk somebody in there, Kyle. I seen that the first time I ever seen that pit. I was like, oh, I could definitely be a champion there, dude. Like, you ain't got to worry about technique. I just put them on the wall and just keep them there. That thing would be hard to get off of with that slant the way it is. Like, I would have shined in that place. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe one of these days I might end up over there throwing some bones. We'll see. But I reckon Dwayne's gonna go down with us. Him and his family. Boss Rootin. He's real big into that stuff, and I don't know if he's the president, but he's certainly high up in that league, and they're going to go down and get to see him. I'll get to meet Boss for the first time. Pretty excited about that, man. I've heard a lot of crazy stories about that guy. He's super intense, and I love being around people that's like that. So I'm pretty stoked for the whole event. Excited for Brevin, man. He's a good prospect, dude. He's got a lot of talent, and a lot of life to live. He's only like 22, I think. He's got all these experiences. Got to train with Dwayne Ludwig and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, when I was at your age, I was really just now I was just now starting to beat on the punching bag a little bit. My grandpa's daggum car shed, so he's got to jump on the game, man. As long as he's disciplined, stays healthy, and Lord's willing, I think he'll go as far as he wants to. He's just going to stay dedicated and train with an intensity. But yeah, it's going good, man. If you find yourself bored, come on down to Nashville this week, Kyle, and hang out with the crew. And for anybody else, man, come out to Karate Combat this Thursday. It'll be a pretty cool event.
Yeah, it looks like something created out of an 80s movie, but it's like the coolest thing ever. Like, it's something that a movie would have created that wouldn't have really existed, but now it exists. It's real. This is real karate combat. This is real fighting. This is something that they've dreamed up but never has been real. I'm excited for it, man. Karate combat's going to be insane.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too, man. I think the rule set's pretty cool and everything. And I seen that Mike Perry's introducing a new combat league too as well. It seemed to be a lot like Karate Combat with I think you can elbow though or something. Maybe I think there's a few different rules. And man, that MMA world lost another one last night.
Man,
Did you watch that?
yes, and I didn't expect it. That's the one that shocked me more than anything.
Dude, when that first round started, I was like, "Oh no!" Me and Torres both was watching it, and he was like, "He looks slow. He's so slow." I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh man, he is slow."
And
He had a
so
couple,
square.
huh?
So square. He was so squared up. That really shocked me.
I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if Platinum was in his head a little bit, or Finney was talking about him being slow, and I was like, "Well, brother, you got to also understand he's grown accustomed to fighting with nothing on his hands.
True.
So, it's only maybe there's a little extra nerves there. I don't feel like it was staged. I mean, the way Jake Paul looked in the back and stuff, like he looked like he had a lot of fight nerves and was pretty nervous. So, personal opinion, I felt like it was pretty real.
Yeah.
Um,
He looked good. Jake Paul looked good.
Jake's a good boxer, man. People want to downcredit him as being a boxer, but I mean, at the end of the day, the dude has got ain't no telling how much money. He can afford the best training in the world, and everything I've heard, man, that's pretty much all he does is train. So, and he's got God given abilities. I mean, the dude's powerful. He's fast. Like he's got God given talents and gifts. Like, how is he not going to be a good boxer with all
Yeah.
that money and all that high level training and just the God given abilities he's got? So, I think pretty soon people, maybe now, but people probably start putting a lot more respect on his name. We was
Yeah.
talking about last night. Man, Torres, like he's definitely being very, very smart in his career with the fights that he chooses. Like he's certainly choosing fights that favor him to win. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's still winning, and he's still disappointing a lot of us MMA folks. I mean, I wasn't I wasn't upset about it. I mean, I wanted Platinum to win just to because he's an ex UFC guy, but I mean, Jake was just too big, too fast, and I mean, it's just I wouldn't mind him making that out as Pereira fight though. I mean,
Ooh.
I'd be I'd be buying that one for sure, man.
Chama.
Drama. I mean, but dude, who knows, man? Even Torres last night, he's like, Alex has been chinny a couple of times in a few of his fights, and Jake's he's got some power. Made him, but what? No, it can't be. Like, I think Pereira takes it personally, but I'll just quit. I'll quit watching all of it. If Jake Paul beats Alex Pereira, I'll just never watch another fight, man.
Yeah. I wonder how realistic that is to actually happening. You think?
I mean, I don't know, man. They let Conor fight Mayweather, and
Yeah.
I feel like if anybody's got that kind of star power to maybe call their shots over there and make things happen, Alex Pereira is probably deserving of it. I mean, the dude's come from a complete different organization and a complete different fighting style to come over and pretty well make. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody make such a name for themselves that fast, man. It's been crazy to witness and it's super cool. And the guy that beat him is fighting on the Contender Series this year. He beat him in Glory. I can't remember his name right off the top, but he's fighting this summer on Dana White's Contender Series. If I'm not mistaken, he's beat Alex Pereira and Izzy. I know he's beat Alex Pereira, but one of the guys in Glory had beat both of them. I can't remember if it's the same guy or not.
Yeah. If I'm looking at it, and of course I don't know what Dana's thinking. I don't ever want to act like I know. I would just think, Alex is looking at great at just something that's never been done, possibly competing at heavyweight, possibly winning a third belt, maybe competing against the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, John Jones, or fighting Jake Paul. It just got you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
I mean, the Alex definitely certainly seems like a legacy guy instead of a money guy. So I personally hope that he does stay on the route that he's on, and that we get the Pereira and Bones fight. Man, that's. I mean, I don't know. You can't make a bigger fight. I mean,
No.
it's the biggest fight in MMA, dude. By the time that fight's made, as long as the trajectory of their careers keep going the same way, by the time that fight's made, man, I think it'll probably do more than the Habib and Conor fight. I mean, it'll be close, I'm sure, because everybody in the world's going to want to tune in to see if John Jones is the greatest in the world, or greatest to ever do it. And I feel like if John goes in there and does that, I already consider him the greatest to ever do it. But if he goes in there and gets the job done, then I mean, undeniable.
Yeah. And two, it doesn't hurt to have your career on a trajectory and then have this social media icon like Jake Paul putting his name next to yours, and that always helps out. I'm sure Pereira, whether they fight or not, it does benefit him to have, that type of that that type of social media excitement that behind it, even if we never see it. But I, I just don't know. I think that left hand, man, Pereira, he's nasty, man.
He is nasty, and Jake was hollering for the left hook last night out of Mike Perry all night long. We're like, throw the left hook, Mike, throw the left hook. After he called out Pereira and was talking about it, and I was just like, well, I mean, you know what he was open for all night, and we know what Pereira's going to do with that hook. So
Well, like Mike Perry beat Michael Venom Page in bare knuckle. I mean, he's beat a lot. I mean, Luke Rockhold. Uh, Mike Perry is a legitimate fighter. It's kind of Tiago Alves. In bare knuckle. I think what Jake did last night was more than he's done so far in his career. Um, is putting a statement and actually just making, but because also Mike Perry's how old is Mike? Like 32?
yeah, I think he's 32 or 33.
Yeah, in the prime, still kind of young guy.
Yeah.
Boxes, even though it's bare knuckle, he's still a pretty good boxer. Yeah, but good for Jake Paul. But I still think Alex in that kickboxing realm and the MMA realm, I just don't know if he wants to smoke. I don't know if Jake wants it. Of course, I keep saying that. And then Jake comes out on top. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, he's doing his thing, man. He's smart. Both them Paul brothers they know how to make money. They know how to market.
So let's talk about, before we get off here, man. I know the excitement. I see a difference in you when you get a fight announcement coming up. You've already mentioned it. You'll be fighting at the Apex, brother. This fight, what can we expect from you, man? I know that you want to get that finish. You said it's been a year. Are you just ready to get back in there?
I'm so ready to get back in there, man. But I mean, he's just a little bit more style, I would say. A little bit more just. I've just struggled with containing this aggression and stuff, and even Dwayne was, he's constantly on me about, even in my sparring sessions, man. If I'm not like, even when I'm not like hitting them hard, like my body language and like my intensity, the way I go in, like it looks like I'm fixing to kill you in sparring, even if I'm not throwing hard, and that's something that I feel like has hurt me in my fights. I've choreographed my shots. I've taxed my cardio by being so tense and going like that. And that's like, I mean, I had this daggum head kick. I had a head kick a couple of days ago that I feel like we've knocked a few people out, and I was like really wanting to get the guy, and Dwayne's like, no, half the power, double the speed, and I'm like, half the power, this son of a guns. What do you mean half the power? But I mean, I know what he's doing. That's what I was packing my bag when I was leaving that last sparring session. I was packing my bag, and I was kind of mad about that big old boy freaking, 210, 215 on the what he weighs right now, head kicking me like that, and then me just having to eat it and not do anything about it. And I'm like, I know what he's doing. I know what Dwayne's doing. I was like, but I don't like it. That's what I was telling Torres. I was like, I know what he's doing, but I hate it. I hate it, man. But just going in there and trying to be more efficient, I guess. I expect people to see more of an efficiency out of me and more composure and just still trying to dial it in, man. I mean, even with as much cages fighting experience as I've got, I've still got a way more in the streets. I mean, there's still a lot more in the streets. I'm still having to fix a few bad habits, man. And like I said, I'm up here putting in the work, and ultimately I'll get them fixed. But yeah, I think people will see more composure, more efficiency, and more dancing and more strikes landed. I want to put on a little bit of a clinic, man. Go in there and give an exciting performance. And like I said, I'm really aiming for a knockout.
Yeah,
always.
Brother, it was great to see you, man. It was awesome to get another podcast in. Guys, I want to remind you today's episode was brought to you by Pam Sewing and Resale Shop, located at 3014 Cummings Highway in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pam offers top-notch alterations, custom sewing services, including curtains, cushions, and bridal veils. Their resale shop supports local groups by providing showers, food, shoes, and clothing to those in need. Visit them Wednesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., or call 423-414-8035 to book an appointment on any other days. Support quality craftsmanship and a great cause with Pam Sewing and Resale Shop. That's Trevor's grandmother. I wanted to also mention that. Give her your support, man. Wonderful lady, supporting Trevor in his journey.
Yeah. If you guys swing by and see my grandma, man. She's the most talented seamstress and lady with a needle I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anybody do the things that she can do with a needle. She's certainly deserving of your business. Like I said, a lot of things that they do there, they try to make ways for people to get themselves out of holes. A lot of their funds and stuff end up going towards like Salvation Army, and they've got a couple of women that work for different organizations that come in and put together stuff for these people in need that want to better their life. And it's just swing by and check them out, man. They're wonderful, godly people, and they've supported me all these years.
Also, guys, check out Aries Fight Series 28, taking place at the world famous Cotton Eye Joe in Knoxville, Tennessee on July 26th. Don't miss epic matchups like Alex Riggs versus Arthur Cisa. That's a fight I cannot wait for. I can't wait to see Samantha Buttery and Kate Sandmeyer get in there too. Tickets on sale at www.fightertix.com. Before we get off here, Trevor, come here, Jake. He's been dying to say hello. He's just been sitting there.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, buddy?
He's got your old school belt on. He's got it. He's wearing it. He was like, Dad, can I say hey to Trevor? I said, yeah, man. We get off here. You can say hey. So say what's up. I don't know if you
What's
can.
up?
What's up, man?
Well, thank you, Trevor, for your time, man. God bless you, brother. Praying for you. Can't wait to see you in September, man.
Love you, brother. God bless you, man. Thank you.
Love you too, guys. It's the Peak Nation podcast. We're out.
We're out.
See you, buddy.